Hi, everyone. Welcome to Sprouts LinkedIn Live. And I'm Avi. I'm the co-founder here at Sprouts.ai. We are building a go-to-market intelligence platform which help demand generation teams to uh, ramp up their efforts. And today we are going to talk about RevOps framework to power growth from 0 to 10 million ARR. And to do so, we have a very special guest, Jacki, who is the founder and head of go-to-market at Activate the Magic. I really love the name. A fractional RevOps agency that helps early stage startups build scalable revenue operations to drive growth from 0 to 10 billion ARR. With deep expertise in Salesforce, HubSpot, and multiple other go to market stacks, she has helped multiple startups optimize their operations, improve data hygiene, and implement high impact revenue strategy. Jack is a firm believer in making revenue operations frictionless. We are going to talk about that a lot in this live, Jackie, so that go-to-market can focus on driving growth. Welcome, Jackie. Firstly, thank you so much for taking our time and talking to us. Really appreciate it.
Absolutely. It's so good to be here, Avi.
Cool. I'm not going to waste any further time, and Jackie, I have like a lot of things to ask and learn.
Mhm.
Uh, it's evident from your work that you're passionate about building revenue operations that support fast-growing GTM teams. Can you tell us more about your journey and how it led in founding, like Activate the Magic, the startup
Yeah.
which you are building right now?
Well, nothing was on purpose.
Mm-hmm.
Everything's made up. Nothing's on purpose, and everything you need you already have. That's my basic. Um, so basically, I pivoted to the tech startup world in 2016,
Okay.
and even though I had like a big career and I was 33, I still got to start as a BDR. And
Okay.
so all my peers were like straight out of college. And so it was really cool to focus on like one thing
Mm-hmm.
with all of my wisdom and experience and like talents and skills because I was able to absolutely crush it. Um, and by my third tech startup, I was the head of business development, hire number 10, first
Okay.
lady at a Boston local startup, LinkSquares. It does legal tech company. It's a legal tech company. And so once I was there, somebody had to figure out the back end of Salesforce. Somebody had
Uh,
to. Um,
Absolutely.
yeah, and if you're watching this, you're probably a bit of a Swiss Army knife yourself. So there's no like, hey, how can someone do this? That's like, that sounds amazing.
Yeah.
Let me figure that out now. And I was just as surprised as anybody that I absolutely fell in love with Salesforce. And at the time, I was hooking up outreach to Salesforce and making things automatic and just making basically the like the AE or the BDR at the like who's actually doing the workflow, making their jobs make sense, right? Making things, if I'm going to something in once, I never have to type that thing in again. If we can
Correct.
triangulate some info, uh, let's do that instead of having the rep do it, right? So just completely obsessed. And so when it was time to leave there, I went to the consulting side. I was at Eustace Consulting, a tiny little Salesforce consulting shop. And then I was with Winning by Design. It was a total dream job, building the RevOps practice there. But as we
Okay.
know, 2022 went a little sideways.
Mhm.
Bessemer Capital now calls it the Sassacre. Everything just kind
Yeah.
of went crazy. So they no longer had the appetite for me to build their RevOps practice. So
Okay.
I kind of started picking up some jobs on my own. I went solo, and a couple
And
months.
can this come your way directly, Jackie, or were you reaching out to people, or these jobs were coming your way only like that?
I think I made one LinkedIn post.
Oh,
Um, yeah, yeah, and that's the cool part about being really enmeshed in your community for a decade, right?
got it. That's an important one. Yeah.
Being the one who goes out of your way to answer people's questions, to hop on Zooms, to pay it forward, um, all that, like, it's a dirty word, networking, but like to actually enjoy contributing to other humans, it all pays off, right? So, um, 10 days after announcing, I had my first client who paid.
Okay.
And like 2 months in, I had too much work for myself. So I started bringing in some people from my community. And about 6 months after that, I was like, did I accidentally build a company? I think I accidentally built a company. So it was not on purpose, but I'm absolutely loving this new adventure. Entrepreneurship, if anybody has any questions about entrepreneurship or going fractional, all that stuff, that's a whole nother conversation that I love to talk about. But basically just loving on your community and doing all the things, it pays off. And now I get to solve really fun problems with just companies who get it, right? They're startups, they're excited, like harnessing that energy and like kind of organizing it so they're going forward. And just the best of the RevOps community I get to work with. And then of course, because I have the absolute world's best talent, other people want to work too. So yeah, it's just kind of like a growing snowball of joy. Mhm.
Absolutely. Such an amazing ride, Jackie,
Thank
and love the journey you had so far. Jackie, once you get the customer and who works with you, right? Like,
Mhm.
or like when you consult companies on the RevOps side, what is that you see as an improvement area, right? Like, broadly speaking, what are like key KPIs
Mm.
for a RevOps leader, and what are the most important one there, right? Like, is it getting the accurate data, or giving that one KPI, or giving the visibility to the entire org or management team, or having these workflows which are like fully automated and everything? So can you talk more about the RevOps function as a whole, and what are like key things that one should focus on?
Okay, so this is going to sound weird, but the number one thing we focus on is validating that the actual problem is the problem that they think is their problem.
Got it. Yeah.
Or like we'll probably suspect that there's something behind their problem, but one to one, like our problem is actually converting leads into opportunities. But then we get in there and it's like their conversion rates are actually way above normal. But once things go to customer success, once they onboard, then like everybody's turning. So it's almost like, hi, did you know that you thought the problem you have is actually like you are world class, you're fine. Let's focus on something totally different. So that's kind of like the biggest thing. And then number two, focusing on that one thing, right?
Okay.
Because the revenue engine is its own organism, right? So awareness, education, selection, commit, that's the close one, onboard, use, expand, right? So that's the revenue engine.
Yep.
When you shift one thing in that engine, the entire organism is going to shift. So it's
Yes.
so tempting to do this and this and this and this and this and this and this all at once. Everything, everywhere, all at once, right? We want to do that. And that's crazy. Well, let's do one thing. Let's watch what happens live. And then now, what's our biggest constraint? Let's do that. Um, it's much more systematic, less stressful, and you actually know what is changing your results, what is changing behaviors, what is changing results. Because if you change more than one thing at a time, you actually have no idea. You have no idea what you did that actually made the difference. Yeah.
Yeah, got it. Got it. And one of the biggest operational challenges, at least I have many friends who are doing the startups, right, at the early stage, is data hygiene and CRM optimization, right? Like generally people do not update the CRM, do not update data on a proper or a structured manner. What are
Mhm.
some of the best practices you recommend, Jackie, which helps in maintaining the clean data, enrich it on a timely manner, and like proper lead routing to improve the sales efficiency? What is something which you would like to like give us few best practices? And would be great if you can give some live or like real life example which you have helped somebody to fix it. That will give us like more context. Would love to learn on that regard.
Yeah. Well, a lot of times when things come to me and it's like your CRM, my CRM is a mess. Well, first of all, everybody's CRM is a mess. Like
Yeah.
the whole like clean CRM, that does not exist. Like I've seen billion-dollar companies, they have no idea what's going on. Like no. So first of all, like you shouldn't already have a clean CRM because nobody does. First, let yourself off the hook. Second, it's not like a morality issue. Like some people think that there's almost like shame in their dirtiness of their like hygiene kind of elicits like, oh my gosh, my CRM doesn't even shower.
Yeah.
Like shifting our perspective from like morality or like the rep should be doing that or ops should be doing that it's somehow like some sort of moral failure. Like no, it's not. It's a result of just a lot of kinetic energy, a lot of chaos, a lot of kinetic energy. So yes, it's business, right? So I'll first get that out of the way. Second of all, it's like the laundry, right? You don't get to a state of a clean CRM and that's where you are. It's like, no, as soon as you're done the laundry, you look down and you're wearing clothes that are now dirty. So just realizing that it's a cycle and not an event. So that's the biggest thing. So those are the biggest things that I usually encounter is like a CEO being like, why aren't my reps taking care of their data? I hear that a lot. And it's like, well, why would they? What are they comped on? Right. So like they're going to do what will benefit them most directly. Right. So if you can actually tie a string from what you're doing to immediately impact you, sure. But that's kind of a hard sell. So the first thing we're going to do is what's the 80-20 here? Like what's the one thing that will do the most? And usually it's something like data groomer. It's like DATAGROOMR.com. So you just log in and it'll dedupe, it'll like, and you can set up the rules. And that's usually like 80% of the problem, right? Because as long as if you've got duplicates, then you've got arguments.
Yep.
Right. And those kind of arguments and that kind of friction is not helping anybody. That's gonna hurt feelings, break relationships, break bonds. So let's fix that. Let's dedupe. And yeah, I've lots of clients. I think we've had like 4 or 5 of our clients will just like roll out data groomer and not even use the bells and whistles. And it's like, oh, everything just feels better. Right. So once we've got that done, then the next is like, okay, let's make sure that we're enriching or we're getting the most current information. And for that, like also realize your own appetite. Like, do you really need day of updates? Probably not. Like monthly or biweekly is probably fine. Right? Like, unless I don't even know what would be necessary for you to have like daily updated data, especially if you're under 10 million, right? Like, come on, let's go. So something like ZoomInfo does this really well. Apollo does it fine. Cognizant, there's plenty of tools that'll get you updated on a pretty regular basis, and you're fine. And then if you really want stuff above and beyond that, of what's like just kind of available, I'm gonna push back and be like, why? Like, why? I mean, set up some LinkedIn alerts and Bob's your uncle. Like, convince me. Convince me you really need it. Because I've done that, right? Like at LinkSquares, we had DataFox, which was awesome. And it would do like, we could program any updates as it was happening in your account list. We could Slack you directly, blah, 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 change. Did that change any behavior, Avi? No, absolutely not. It didn't change behavior, so it doesn't matter. No.
Got it. And follow on to that, you have raised an interesting point, right? Like in your experience, How frequently do you think companies refresh or like do the entire cleanup of their CRM? That's one. And like the points you have mentioned, right? Like DTube, doing enrichment, and multiple other steps. What's a typical time spent by RevOps team to do this activity, right? Like I had these two questions. Yeah, like if you can give us like what is the industry standard and what is like best in class. For example, let's say typically a company takes like 10 days to do the entire CRM enrichment and refresh, but best in class companies do it in just 2 days, and they do at a frequency of a monthly basis or a half yearly basis or an annual basis. Can you throw some light on this, because this is something a very very important to us?
So really, I don't know.
Okay.
I don't
Uh,
know. I don't know. But what I will say is the more like rhythmic
mhm.
and automatic things that you can set up that are gonna kind of take care of themselves, the
Got
better.
it.
Yeah.
Got it.
Yeah.
Got it.
That's just what I've seen. But who doesn't love a good fire drill?
Yeah. 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 One more question I had was leaky pipeline is nightmare to any
Mm.
org. We came across your process map template on LinkedIn,
Oh.
right? Which looks like perfect way to manage healthy pipeline. That is
Mm.
like music to my ears. So can you share more about what inspired you to create it?
Mhm.
What are the key challenges is it addresses,
Mhm.
and what are the outcomes? How does it help GTM teams in the sales process, or broadly, right? Like, what are the outcomes? Do you think that uh, if you have inconsistent or like inconsistent leaky pipeline, then your revenue are going to drop on a consistently basis? Can you throw some light on that?
Yeah. Well, I think more and more we're realizing that how we sell really gets to better mirror and reflect where the buyer is in their journey and what they need and what makes sense to them.
Mm-hmm.
Gone are the days of, well, you need us because you need pricing. Like, or you need a demo. It's like, well, if you don't do a demo, there all of your competitors have a demo live, easy peasy, right? Um,
Yes.
as sales, we're no longer the gatekeepers of information. Um, so like just realizing that as that's just a different principle, right? So,
Mhm.
and especially with AI and all the things, even content and stuff, like we're no longer even like the gatekeepers of content or analysis. Because ChatGPT, I could have a I could have a thorough analysis of all of the GTM AI blah 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 platforms available, right? It's really being able to reflect where your buyers are in the journey and making it automatic, making it easy, removing as much friction as possible.
Got
Um,
it.
but that also means like facing the hard truths
Yep.
of like so many CRMs. I'll go in and there's all these deals, opportunities with close dates in the past. They haven't been touched in months. And it's like my heart gets sad because it's just like who who is so stressed out that either they had to plump up their pipeline or whatever numbers, or they just weren't as excited about what was actually happening that they were hanging on to stuff that isn't happening. Like, how much does your job have to not make sense for that to be the situation?
Right.
Um, so, what I'm seeing with companies who are actually giving buyers what they need when they need it
Mhm.
in the consumable forms of
Mhm.
how they like to consume it. I'm
Okay.
seeing deals close themselves, right? And it's about, let's spend our time on feedback loops rather than trying to make fetch a thing.
Got it. Got it. Understood. Understood. So you're recommending that spend a lot of time on the feedback loops and
Yeah.
iteratively improve the process.
Yeah.
Got it.
Is your pipeline leaky, or is your pipeline trying to capture things that aren't pipeline?
Understood. Understood. Uh, uh, my next question, Jackie, is things are changing really fast, right?
Yeah.
Especially with AI coming in. And there are a lot of shifts which are happening the way things are being done, like 2 years back, and now how the things are done today. What are some of the biggest realization you have come across working with your customers or RevOps leaders, and what's not working for them, right? And how are they navigating these shifts, like real shifts in technology, the way they operate, the way they, function? What are these major shifts you are seeing with, RevOps leader and your customers?
Mm. Well, first of all, the classic BDR role as we know it it just doesn't make any sense anymore.
Okay.
Right? Because our buyers are so informed and they have everything that they need at their fingertips, that if they're actually going to talk to a human, they want that human to have context and knowledge and wisdom beyond what they can whip up right online. And that takes seasoning. that takes um that takes life experience, right? So it's no longer like the the AAA team for the majors, right? Like the training ground for the AEs. It just doesn't make sense anymore. Um, so that's a big one. And I think how that looks is executives, especially, okay, so this is so classic. Executives who had a huge exit, right?
Mhm.
They're like, oh, let's do a tech startup now. Let's do a startup now because we know everything. And they want to just run the same plays that they ran in 2018. It's like, it's just a different world. And all those best practices and handbooks and stuff like that, it's just not relevant anymore. Because things are changing so fast, it's almost like best practices don't even have the time to become best practices.
Got it.
So
Got it.
it's much more about being with what's so, um,
Mhm.
interviewing interviewing your buyers, interviewing your customers, really getting into that language, um, how that problem is discovered, thought about, talked about, what it means to the company, like really almost wear your customer as a skin suit, um, rather than, oh, let me just hire 15 BDRs, throw them at the problem, and then we'll have 20 AEs that they feed into, and that will equal this hockey stick situation. Um, and it's just not, just because you hire them doesn't mean that they're going to know what their
That-
job is, because their job won't make sense because that's not a job anymore. It's just not a job anymore, Avi.
Okay. Okay. So do you strongly feel that the role of BDR is going to come down drastically because of this new shifts which are happening, and a
Yeah.
lot of this is going to be done by the AIs and automations? Okay,
Yeah.
right.
And so it really is like the new version of it is someone who's like an orchestrator, like a data and analysis orchestrator, who's taking in what buyers are saying, what customers are saying, what execs are analyzing and realizing about their customers, and then operationalizing that wisdom, using things like clay and automations and data refining and cleaning and such. Yeah.
Got it. Got it. Got it. And Jackie, one question, right? Like we talked about hiring BDRs and AEs. The gone are the days where you will, like really have to hire a lot many people.
Yeah.
Uh, like fewer people can give a
Yes.
lot of output
Hmm.
and deliver the same value. Uh, what are your thoughts if somebody has to go for higher RevOps roles, right? what are the key traits one should look for, right? Let's say uh, I have scaled my sales org and marketing org. We are getting a very repeatable motion. Now, to structure all of this, I need a RevOps leader to give everyone a direction in terms of where we are growing, how we are going, and attribute everything. What are those, key traits which RevOps leaders has in a startup environment? If you have to hire someone, right? Like, what are the three things we look at in a person?
Yeah, curiosity, and
Okay.
not an acute way, right?
Okay.
Like curiosity to the point where people are like, enough.
Yeah.
Socially inappropriate curiosity. Yeah, that's what I'm going to call it now. No, the curiosity that drives people to figure out the answer, even when it includes like thudding our head against the wall, like repeatedly, like, oh yeah, let me try this. Yeah. Um, a, a love of being a steward of the revenue as a revenue engine as its own entity,
Got
right?
it. Mhm.
Um, it's tempting to go for the person who will do your bidding. If you're the CRO or the CMO or the CEO, whatever it is, it's really tempting to get someone who will do your bidding and sees what you see. But I'm telling you that you want someone who is neutral in the way that they're going to do the best for the organization as a whole. Um, and that's hard. It's hard to do that job,
Yep.
which is sometimes why I recommend actually going with a fractional agency or a consultant, um,
Mhm.
because it's really hard to go against the grain, especially if you're going against the grain of what the sales leader wants,
Mhm.
because they're just really good at being a salesperson. They're really good at convincing,
Yep.
right? Um, so, yeah, so that independence and that loyalty to the system, um, and just like overall a sense of urgency and a posture of service.
Got it. Got
Um,
it.
almost like the person who doesn't ask if you want a glass of water doesn't even call attention to you getting a glass of water, but just makes it happen. Like you'll just have a glass of water and you won't even know when that happened.
Yeah.
So, unfortunately, the people with those traits usually aren't the ones who get the job,
Okay. Okay. Got it.
right?
Hmm.
Because if you're really good at solving problems and reducing friction, people
Mhm.
don't experience the friction
Yep. That's true.
and
Yeah.
can't really attribute, like, oh, wow, I did not have a single headache today. Who do I give a raise for that?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, really defining, improving the ROI of RevOps is something that I'm passionate about and I'm really working towards, um, to better empower, making sure the right people get the right job, like the people with that stewardship and curiosity and independence, um, and just urgency and posture of service, making sure those people are the ones that have those lead RevOps jobs. Yeah,
Got
that's
it. Got
that's
it.
what's going to
Got it.
happen, Avi.
Yeah.
Are you with me? Are you with
Yes.
me?
Yes. For sure. For sure. Jackie, right? Like I know we are like about time. Almost like just 1 minute is left. One piece of advice you give it to founders or
Mm,
aspiring leaders who are building their go-to-market, like just in process of building their go-to-market strategy
yeah,
and thinking of starting to build a RevOps function, right? Like, what
yeah,
is that one piece of advice which is like a must-have, uh, which you recommend to everyone
yeah,
before we call it off? Yeah.
yeah. The discipline to do one thing at a time.
Okay. So don't pick multiple things. Pick one thing, execute it, and then move to the second one.
Yeah,
I can't agree more. I think this is where I think most of us go wrong, where we take a lot of things on our plate
Mhm.
and end up not doing good at multiple things, rather than like prioritize the problem, pick it up, and just fix it to the nth level and then move forward. Yeah,
Mhm.
can't agree.
Yep.
Yeah.
If the question is more, better, or new, 99 out of 100 times, it's just the answer is more, which isn't very fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Got it. Cool. Jacki, I think we are about time.
Cool.
Thank you so much. I loved this interaction, and I think you have given us a lot of insights in terms of how to run revenue and RevOps function in a very methodological manner.
Aw, thanks,
So,
Abby.
yeah, thank you so much for your time. Really appreciate it, and talk to you soon.
Absolutely. Bye.